Okay, DID folks, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to put a texture over your entire image. So I'm in Adobe Illustrator, and you can see I've got my different panels, and I can go ahead and I can select individual ones, and I could maybe like change the color. Ooh, I don't like that, but I could, I could make certain panels have um, sort of these different colors as I'm going in. But the issue is right now, if I'm going in, they're really, really flat. So this is good and all, but I need more to it. It's a little too flat, which I don't love. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I want to bring in a texture. And I brought this texture, this photo. I found this photo. It's just a linen texture, but you could find any texture you want. I downloaded it. I'm going to cite it, but I want to put that texture across all these different parts of my panels. We showed you how to do a clipping mask for like one shape, but what if you want to put it on all of your panels? And this is how we're going to do it. So really, really quick, I'm going to go to my layers panel. I'm going to grab my entire template, and it's all grouped, but if I expand it out, you can see all my different shapes. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab that template, and I'm just going to drag that down to the duplicate, the little plus sign icon. So now it's duplicated, and I can, now the copy I just made, I can block that. I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to mess with this one right here. Now, the first thing I want to do, if I want to put that texture on everything, is I actually want to make this one giant shape. So I could, with it all selected, I could grab it all, and I can use my shape builder tool and try to select stuff, but that can be a little tedious. And the issue is, if I look, some of it's not shape building together. And the reason is because these shapes don't actually overlap. They go right up against each other, but they don't overlap enough. So that's an issue. The other thing, so what I'm going to need to do first where they don't overlap is I'm going to need to go in and modify stuff. So I can double click and get the shape, and I can go right there. And it's a question of how do I make this now overlap? Well, I can go ahead and I'm going to grab my plus anchor point tool, which is under my pen tool. There's a little plus sign, and I'm just going to click here. I'm going to add an anchor point. And now with my direct select tool, the white arrow, I can click on that anchor point. I'm going to drag that anchor point in. So now this shape overlaps this shape. Same thing, I can go down here. I'm going to select individual shapes. I can go with my direct select tool, and I can grab this. Maybe I just pull the corners up. So now they overlap into my other shape. Same thing, I'm going to grab this one, grab my direct select tool. I don't know if that worked. And I'm going to grab the corner, drag it up, and I'm trying to do that in a way that doesn't mess up my shape. Oh, that did something. I don't even know. That'll overlap enough. And I can grab this one now, and I can grab it. Up it goes. There's something going on in this corner that I don't understand. And there we go. So now they all overlap. So now I can go ahead. I can select. I can get out. I can select all of them now, and I can shape build them together. It's all one unified shape. Great. So now I've got one solid shape, and that's the really important thing, because once I have a solid shape, it's really, really easy. Do that shape build right there, to go ahead and switch that back. So I got my shape, and to go ahead and do a clipping mask. So now I can go ahead, I can go in my downloads, I can click, I can drag my photo in. Ooh, that's really big. So then I scale out a little bit. I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to scale it down a little bit so it's big enough to cover everything. And if I look in here, I actually want to go ahead and I want to put this image below my template. So my template is here, my image is here. And now I want to select both of those things. I have them both selected. You can see they're both selected by the little dots over here, but I just clicked and dragged. Or if I have one and I hold down shift, I can select it over here in the panel. But either way, then I can right click, make a clipping mask. Uh-oh, something didn't work. What didn't work? Apparently, it was mad. This is not grouped yet. Interesting. There's a lot of weird little extra shapes that it didn't do. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go into my group. I turn my thing off. I'm going to lock it down. So I'm going to select my group. I'm actually going to go to something called Window and Pathfinder. And I'm just going to click Unite. which is this little thing right here. I just united it. So now if I go into my layers panel, it's all one shape, and that's what I really wanted. So let's try that again. Now, since it's all one shape, and I select my photo as well, and I right click, make a clipping mask, boom, now it fits in there, which is great. So I can see I've got this texture, and that might be enough. Now I can now turn my other copy on. Now if I select my clip group, and I go to my transparency panel, it says normal, but if I change that to like multiply, okay, see now I can see it's the texture applied over the color, and I can mess with the opacity a little bit. But now if I go in, I've got this really nice texture still on my panel. I can still see all my panels. I can still see my lines. I've got my colors, but now there's a texture, and it's just a little bit more interesting. And what's cool is I can still go in just like a normal clip group, and I can select just the photo, and I can scale that around. I can rotate it if I want to. I can do whatever I need to make that work. Stretch it out. But now I've got this photo texture over top of everything. And that's just an easy way to slip it in, get it on top of my entire box, and then I am good to go. And that is how you clip it into. So the big thing is just remembering you got to duplicate your template, make it all one shape, and then a clipping mask is easy and works just like we've learned all along. That's it.